All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Eldercare's training series, Eldercare Academy, where we provide different trainings every week to help the insurance agent out there. Whether you're with us or not, we want to help you and educate you on all the different products you have access to and even some sales training. And also, of course, we have Melanie with us this morning to brag about Eldercare, of course.
Yes, good morning and happy Thursday. I'm so glad you guys could join us this morning. It means a lot that you take time out of your schedule to be here on Thursdays.
Yes, every Thursday. We appreciate it. I see some more names coming through. Good morning. Welcome. We got Joey, Jill, we got Brian, Sabrina. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. As always, we want this to be a conversation. So find the Q&A box. We do these live for this reason, right? We want you to ask questions because there might be another agent who doesn't know to ask that question. Or even if you have feedback, we can share with everyone as well. Sabrina said, good morning. Awesome. Thank you so much. And if you want to, go ahead and comment the state that you're in. That way we kind of know our audience this morning. I know that we have agents from all over the US.
For sure.
We got Brian in Georgia. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We're super excited about today's topic, and I'm going to learn a lot too. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce our special guest, Kemp. Good morning, Kemp.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Yes, I think this might be your fourth webinar you've done with us.
Yeah, it gets better every time.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think we did one recently over the new hospital indemnity product, which has been amazing. And so now we're going to talk about a different product that I know we've done trainings before, but I feel like it's such a different product that, an agent might attend it and then kind of forget about it.
I hear that it's also very good for your clients that maybe their ACA plan or their insurance they did not get at work is too expensive. And so this is another option, and that even agents have wrote themselves quite a bit. So,
oh yeah, I didn't think about that too.
Our own agents using this product or using this and bundling it with a few of your other products to make a really good little, packet for them.
Yeah. And Kim, you have people from Georgia, Texas, Arkansas. We got some good mornings. I know she's in Texas. Brian said, like the product, already sold one.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Brian. And so I'm going to pass it over to you, Kemp. I'm going to let you kind of introduce yourself and start sharing.
Great, good. Well, thanks for being here with us today. I need to have the screen sharing.
Sorry, I got you.
Open for me. Eldercare, I love them. They're a trusted partner. I've known them for a long time. I really enjoy working with them. And so as an agent, you're in great hands with Eldercare for sure. So I might be a little biased to them. That's all right.
I mean, we think that's all right too.
Yes.
There we go. So I'm not the most technology smart guy, but I will get there. How's that?
One more click. There you go. Yep.
All right, good. I'm going to stop sharing my video in case I rub my nose or something during the presentation. They can look at you two beautiful ladies there. How's that?
Okay.
Let's talk a minute about Manhattan before we jump into the product. Manhattan, as it says there, has been around since 1850. We're celebrating our 175th birthday this year, which that's quite a milestone that I think shows stability and integrity in the marketplace. The Statue of Liberty's in the background. Hence, we started in Manhattan, New York, back in 2000, early 2000s. They moved the company to Houston, Texas, and that's where we employ about 800 people. Half of them are bilingual, so any of your Spanish-speaking people, they've got full support with brochures and with people answering the phone, helping take care of their questions. One other thing that I'm proud of about Manhattan is they're privately held. And what that means to you is they make decisions based on their client. And their client is the policyholder and the agent. And what that means is they're not beholden to stockholder value to make decisions. So you always come out better because of the privately held, because they can make decisions that are more in your favor than paying a dividend. So that's a little on Manhattan. Here, I'm going to show you my wonderful picture. There's my contact information.
Yes, agents need to save this. Kemp is really good about responding. I mean, I always communicate via email. So agents screenshot this, write it down. However, you remember contact information, grab his information.
So the Eldercare is really good about helping you. I can help you. I think at the end of my presentation, it'll show you, I've got a backup team called ACEs, and it's just an agent support desk is what it is. And anyway, so you got plenty of people that you can get in touch with. So we're going to talk about the affordable choice today. This is an alternative to the ACA. So Melanie was talking about what are some of the niches that this product fits. My biggest one immediately, I'd say it's that self-employed person that makes too much money, doesn't get any subsidies to pay for the insurance, and they just say, I'm not going to pay $1,200 a month for a $7,000 deductible. I'm just not going to do it. And that could be your the plumber. He makes $200,000 a year, and he no subsidies, and he just can't afford it or not going to pay for it. So that's the biggest niche where I see it fit. We take an I-10 number in lieu of a Social Security number. So that's another niche where I see this fits, is a lot of the Spanish speakers, they have an I-10, but they don't have a Social Security. This is a great product that fits in there with them. You've got your, another niche would be the 60-some-year-old person. They put blinders on and they just say, I'm going to wait till I get on Medicare. You know, I don't want to pay that big premium. And anyway, listen, let me just give you an example. A 64-year-old, if they took the Elite Plus plan, the best one we've got, it's $374 a month with no deductible. So that is very affordable. So anyway,
compared to what normal health insurance or an ACA plan would be.
Right. You know, we're usually about a third of the ACA. And so like for that 64-year-old, a $5,000 deductible could easily be $900 a month. And you guys know the numbers better than me.
Yeah, that's what Brian just said. I have people that are retiring before Medicare age and using this for the gap until Medicare.
Right on. Yeah. And it's a guaranteed renewable plan. So once they get on it, they don't have to reapply, you know, and you can put people on 365 days a year. There's not a certain time that you sign them up. You can sign people up year round.
Which is a big deal right now. I think I shared this on my Facebook. I was like, this is the perfect time of year to see who maybe missed their open enrollment for ACA, or even, you know, they might get employer coverage that they missed enrolling in, you know, and making sure they have something before they get into the winter months where they start to get sick a lot more.
Exactly.
And, you know, I would just like to say, like, all those things you just said previously, before we start, we're going to get into the product details, we promise. But we really want to stress the importance of the opportunity. Like everything Kim just said is, those are opportunities for you to be writing applications.
Absolutely. Yeah. In between jobs, coming off their parents' policy, you know, it doesn't fit everybody, but there are a lot of niches that it's the perfect fit on there. Let's just dive in the benefits. Y'all good?
We're good.
Okay. And hopefully everybody can see this.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. They really put too much on one page. Anyway, we'll work with what we have here.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good way to see the big picture though. Like, I mean, it might be a lot of fine print, but agents need to see like there's a lot built into these plans.
There's a lot built in there. I had told them, I said, we pay on observation care and a lot of them don't. And so I said, that's a big deal. Well, they put it in big point. So they took me literally that I wanted, that's a big deal. So they made it the biggest part of it. But anyways, you see, we do pay observation care. But if this is going to be their main policy, I would highly recommend that the Elite or Elite Plus are the two benefit levels that you would look at. And because they both provide really good coverage in or out of the hospital for medical expenses, hospital expenses. The other two do good, but you might be a little short on reimbursement on that.
Okay, so maybe the other two are for cross-selling.
Yep.
With
I do see a lot of people use the classic policy as a supplement to a major medical or an ACA plan because it is no deductible. It starts paying right off the bat. Whereas though major medical or an ACA, you're going to have a $500, $700, $9,300 deductible before it starts paying. And so this helps fill that gap there, and it's pretty inexpensive. But I'm going to stick with the Elite Plus benefits right here, this column, and we'll just kind of work through that. But you can see the other three benefit levels.
which you said averages out to be around 300 a month.
Depends what age they're at.
Okay.
But yes, yeah. And then anyway, just say yes. We'll get to the rates. But it's about a third of the cost of an ACA plan. That may be what you were thinking.
Okay.
So on the hospital benefits for the Elite Plus, it's going to pay $6,000 a day every day you're in the hospital. And then in addition to that, in fact, let me back up just a step. This is an indemnity policy, so it pays regardless of any other coverage. So we're going to pay what we're going to pay, regardless if they have other coverage, if they get it repriced, whatever it is, we're going to pay what you see right here. And so we pay $6,000 a day that first day. And then you have a hospital admission benefit, which is $3,000. So that first day in the hospital, you actually have $9,000 worth of coverage. And then every day after that, it goes to $6,000 a day. They have that injury reimbursement benefit, and that's just kind of a bonus to keep the policy in force. And just says that the longer you keep the policy, for an accident, we will pay more per day in the hospital. So it increases 25% each year, where in year 5, you've doubled your daily benefit and it stops at that point. So that's just a nice little side benefit. Thank you for keeping your policy in force.
Yeah, help them stay on the books.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's designed for. Yeah. So then we'll take a look at the surgery benefit. It pays 3 times the Medicare physician. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. There right here, y'all can see my cursor. I'm underlining Medicare physician fee schedule. So what this is going to do is it's going to pay 3 times whatever Medicare approves. Every year Medicare comes out and they say, this is what we're going to pay for surgeries. And then what we're saying is normally Medicare is a little short on what they approve. We're going to pay 3 times whatever Medicare approves for that surgical procedure. And so that's why I say the Elite or Elite Plus, getting 2.5 or 3 times, you've got plenty of coverage there for that. And it'll pay on surgery in or out of the hospital. So that's a big deal.
Okay.
If you go to urgent care, it says $300 4 times a year. That's a nice benefit. It does have an emergency room coverage. And if they go to the emergency room, hopefully they go ahead and admit them into the hospital. because then it would be covered that way there. If you do have surgery, it shows here we'll pay 20% for an assistant surgeon. So it says 20% of the surgical schedule. So an example of that would be is what if you had a gallbladder surgery? Medicare said $800 is what we approved for that. If you have the Elite Plus, it's going to pay 3 times that, or $2,400, which that should leave money left over, by the way. But for the assistant surgeon, if you had one, it would pay 20% of $2,400. So you get $480 for the assistant surgeon. And then the anesthesiologist is 25% of the surgical benefit in or out of the hospital. So it provides coverage in or out of the hospital. We don't tell you where you have to go. It's going to pay wherever you're at. And I'll dive into that a little bit later. But let's look at office calls. $200 a visit 10 times a year. So if you go to an MD, DO, chiropractor, dermatologist, any licensed physician, we're going to pay $200 for that visit. And it doesn't matter what if they charge $125, we're going to pay $200. What if they charge $250, we're going to pay $200. And that's for the doctor office visit.
Doctors and specialists kind of thing.
Correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a walk-in chiropractor here that charges $50 without insurance.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a sweet deal. You got a good employer there.
Well, no, it's just a chiropractor office that we have here.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. In Hot Springs.
I see one about once a month. I definitely believe in them.
Mm-hmm. So
over here on the right-hand side, you have outpatient medical benefits, for a colonoscopy, pap smear, PSA. That tells you that's what we're going to do. Lab work that you have done. And these are all in addition to that doctor office visit. Therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy. If you have an MRI, PET scan, CAT scan, mammogram, tells you just what we're going to pay. And then ambulance, allergy shots. Parents like the allergy and immunizations a lot. Cancer benefit, they recently increased this, so I feel pretty good about it. $2,000 a day up to 40 times a year. And then it'll cover $1 million in a year, 5 million lifetime. So any questions before I run on here?
I don't think so. I mean, this is a great slide. I think I would screenshot that one because it does. I just like how it covers more than just the basics, hospital and doctors. Like it looks like Manhattan has thought of everything: labs, specialist.
Yeah.
I didn't even know assistant surgeons were a thing I needed to watch for.
Yeah. In the policy, they will print, there's 3 pages of surgeries, just kind of typical surgeries to give you an idea. And then the 3 times benefit would be 3 times what you're seeing there. And, they can't list out all the surgeries because that would be bigger than a dictionary for all of them. But it's a fair schedule. We use Medicare because Medicare is a solid benchmark in the industry. And so that's how the surgery works. We also have some additional benefits. You don't have to use them, but I would recommend it. Low cost diagnostic. If you're going to go in and have the PET scan, mammogram, CAT scan, if you'll call these people ahead of time and let them set up your appointment, they'll take our payment as full payment on green imaging. So I don't know if you remember, but we pay like $700, on the PET scan, CAT scan, MRIs. So anyway, if you will call them, it definitely makes your dollars stretch out farther.
Oh, okay.
Same thing on direct labs. If you're going to have a bunch of lab work done, If you'll call them or contact them ahead of time, let them set up the appointment, they will take our payment as full payment. So it's
So
an
are you
optional
saying
thing.
like you're telling the client to call these people, or are you saying like the
The
agent?
client. Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of times, and this is off the record, a lot of times that doctor owns the x-ray machine or the lab testing place. And
Oh,
so these are independent people and they'll get the same test done for a lot less money.
okay,
But it's an optional benefit. They don't have to use it because we're going to pay the same regardless. It's just,
right. But these are things that are built in, right?
yes, right, right. Yeah. We also have telehealth consultants, which is 24/7 coverage, no copay. And during COVID, people got used to using telehealth.
Mhm.
You figure why sit in the doctor's office with a bunch of sick people.
Yeah, but it's normally a $50 copay.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just a part of the policy. You can use it, but you don't have to. But I have personally used it. Very easy to use and competent people. First Health Network. That's also a part of the policy. If you go to any doctor, any hospital, and the First Health Network, they reprice the claims. I did see a gallbladder surgery. It was like a $30,000 bill, which is ridiculous. It was outpatient. They came in and repriced it, and it ended up being like $12,000 all in. Our client actually made $650 on that because we paid $12,650 and they repriced it to $12.
Oh, wow.
But
So
again,
that would be before they go,
they could just go
after?
in First Health Network is on their ID card. And so when they go in there, they know they're a first, like that gallbladder example I just gave you. She
Mhm.
didn't give them her insurance card when she went in.
Mhm.
And then she saw that $30,000 bill and had a heart attack. And that's when I reminded them, I said, well, did you tell them you're part of the First Health Network? She gave them the card. And that's when they repriced everything, and it came out smelling like a rose.
Yeah, it's sounding like it like it works like insurance, but it's definitely not. It's just an indemnity.
That's correct. Yeah. And you see here this bottom line, no paperwork to fill out. The network doctors and hospitals will file your claim for you if you want them to. So we will always pay the client first unless they assign their benefits to the doctor or hospital. And so that's just kind of what is your preference? It's whatever you want us to do, that's what we'll do. But if you're in network, it's pretty nice because they'll file the claim, they'll reprice it. And if there's any extra money to be paid out, like the lady I just gave you example, she got a check for $650 because she had more benefits than what the claims actually added up to.
Mhm. And that link will show a list of providers and network.
Right on. Yep.
Very cool.
So in First Health is huge. I mean, more than likely that hospital is a member of it. So anyway, it's a benefit that's built in the policy. You don't have to use it, but it's to your benefit to use it.
Yeah, and it makes sense to me too, because I know quite a few people that don't have insurance, and sometimes it is cheaper to not have insurance and pay cash and then be reimbursed for it. So that's
a great point, and I should have hit it a little harder. We like reimbursing clients because they know how fast we pay. It goes direct to them. They get all the money, and then they can disperse that money how it needs to be spent.
Mhm.
So it's a personal preference, as to what that client wants to do. And
Yeah.
they might have, kind of like we talked about earlier, they might have the classic plan, to come underneath a major medical or ACA. They definitely want to get reimbursed on that. Because the other policy might try to coordinate with what we pay. We're not going to coordinate with anybody. We're going to pay in full regardless of any other coverage. So
Okay.
those are good points.
Yeah, and we do have some questions coming through. I want to let everyone know I do see them. I'm just letting Kim kind of get through these benefits.
Yeah, I'm almost done. I got this. It's a discount prescription card. It's good. And then we have Care Guide, which I like to call this as advocate. If you have something major happen to you, you want to contact these people. They'll help walk you through it. Examples like my dad got diagnosed with carcinoma right by his eye. We contacted him because I didn't know what to do. All we knew is we were going to go to wherever the best place was to get treated. They can look regionally or they can look nationally, and they can tell you what doctors and what hospitals have the best results for that condition that you have. And his was pretty specific, that sarcoma right by his eye is a pretty unique deal. And anyway, we found the ones that had the best, and it happened to be in Oklahoma City where I'm from. But we were ready to go to New York City, Cleveland, Houston, wherever it was going to be. And but anyway, it worked out really good. They set up a second appointment because you want to confirm that. And then if you have any balance bill, they will go in and help you negotiate that bill down. So anyway, they're pretty good people. But let's stop at that point and see what kind of questions we have.
Okay, we had one from Jill. She asked if there was a waiting period.
Good question. Yep. You do have to qualify to get on the plan. And once you're on the plan, if you have a pre-existing condition, like let's say high blood pressure, you've got high blood pressure, it's under control. That's a key. 12-month waiting period on anything related with high blood pressure. And then after 12 months, the blood pressure is covered also.
Okay. And then the next question from Joey, is there a cap to the doctor rollover benefit?
Good question, and I should have covered that. You've got 5 visits is the max carryover per year. And so you've got 10 days this year. What if you only use 2 of those 10? You can roll 5 over to next year and you'd have 15. And then an example, what if you only use 2 the next year? Well, you could roll 5 over to the next year and you'd have 20 visits. So it just accumulates on there. Good. Thank you for that. Thanks.
Yeah, that was a great question. I didn't even read that part of the benefit. Brian had asked, so if they want to get a discount, they need to use the First Health Network for the discount and then get reimbursement, or Affordable Choice will pay provider?
So you can assign your benefits to the provider, and then whether you use the First Health Network or not is up to you. I can tell you for fact that if you're in network, it'll make your dollars stretch out farther. Just stick with my same example I used. They charged her $30,000 up front, but when they repriced it, it came down to $12,000. Same thing could be said for if you said I'm a cash pay person, that $30,000 could disappear to $15,000. Pretty easy. So in that case, you would want to get paid direct and not assign your benefits there.
Okay, so when you're you have the choice to either assign it to the provider or to yourself.
Exactly right. Yep.
Okay. And then Patricia asked, if someone is on a medication, does it cover the doctor visit, even though it does not cover the medication?
Well, and it does cover prescriptions. You guys are really helping me. Thank you very much.
It's the best way to learn is to ask questions. So thank you.
And I appreciate them. Like right here, prescription benefit, it pays $75 per day. So for one prescription, it pays $75. And then it'll pay up to $750 a year for prescriptions.
Okay.
So as long as it's not pre-existing, you have that 12-month waiting period. So the first 12 months, it wouldn't cover pre-existing. After 12 months, it would. But so they would cover on the office visit and that prescription.
I think that answers all the questions so far.
Good. So if it was a $4 generic, we pay $75.
Wow.
If it's
Wow.
a name brand prescription and it's 125, we pay $75. You know, it's an
Okay.
indemnity, so it's going to pay exactly what it says. Yeah. So we good? We solid?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Ready to continue.
Yeah. The rest of this stuff is just, talks about the health questions here.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I can see that being a hesitation for people to write it, that they
yeah.
have to pass underwriting.
Yeah. And well, in fact, that's, I don't think there's a slide in here about it, but let me just tell you, you have an agent guide that goes with the policy. Every product that we have has its own agent guide. In that agent guide, it'll have a red flag prescription list. It'll tell you uninsurable conditions. If you're having trouble with an application, it gives you a contact. Anyway, it should be your best friend. And it's written in easy read language, which what that means is a fifth grader should be able to pick it up and tell you what they read. It's not written in legalese. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
A lot of times they think, oh no, I won't understand it anyway. I'm not a lawyer. Well, you don't have to be. So,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I have all the guides saved to my computer for every product. No offense, but they are my best friend.
Yes.
yeah, you can usually answer most of your questions with it. On here, it just, the underwriters had told me, when you list out like Linsapril for high blood pressure, you could put, the last visit, of October 24, their blood pressure was 130 over 80, whatever it might be.
Oh,
They said that's just kind of a nice little addition.
okay.
These questions here are pretty much, and the agent guide tells you this, these are pretty much knockout questions on here. And so you just, do you have have you had testing done that you haven't got the results back or that are abnormal? The company would want to hold up until you got positive results back on that.
Okay.
Have you been treated for alcoholism? I mean, those are all. Type 1 diabetes is pretty hard. Basically, is uninsurable. Type 2 diabetes, I have gotten people insured with it. Even with type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure, as long as the doctor shows that it's been under control for over a year, those have been covered. So, but anyway, that agent guide really helps you a bunch.
So don't be scared of the underwriting. If you have a client that you're thinking of, I mean, all you can do is try to see if they would pass.
Right on. So here I was a little bit wrong on the rates. On a 64-year-old, I told you it was like $350 a month. It's $367.
Okay.
Great rate, no deductible. Pays in or out of the hospital. I don't need to read the rates so you can see them here.
Right.
The family rate will cover up to 3 kids. And if you have a 4th kid, you don't have to determine which one's not covered. You just add a child rate to it there.
Okay, so you're telling me this plan can be written for anyone between the ages of 18 and 64?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
I wonder how many people are in the US that are 18 to 64.
a lot.
So is this only for US citizens?
No, they just have to have an I-10 number.
Okay.
You don't have to be a US citizen to get the I-10 number or social security number is the key.
Okay.
This is the only product that you can do a child only policy. And so if there's been a divorce in the family and all of a sudden he's got to cover the kid, it's going to be $400 a month at work. You might want to put them on this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's now the only trick to that is it's not a trick, but the key to understand, if you have 2 kids, you have to take 2 separate applications. So it'll only allow you to do 1 kid at a time.
So how would that, I'm sorry if I totally missed understanding this. How do you do a child only if they have to be 18?
Well, this is the only policy, again, that they will let you do a child only on the e-app or on the paper app, either one. But it will allow you to do it on the Affordable Choice policy only.
So
I
what's the
just learned
minimum
this.
age? Is the minimum age 18 or does it go down?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what it says. Minimum age is 18 to
Okay.
64.
Okay.
But recently, like in the last 3 months, the lawyer said, okay, we'll cover a child only. And so they will do a child only policy. But if you have 2 kids, it has to be 2 different applications.
So basically the adult is doing the application, but they're applying for a child only.
Thank you. Yeah, I should have
Okay.
that. Yeah.
I eventually got there.
No, yeah, they're signing for the kid. Yeah. Yeah. I should have said that.
It's okay. It's okay. This is how I'm learning.
Yeah, me and you both. They've got a height and weight chart on there. I think it's pretty liberal. If they are 2 pounds over the maximum weight, they will not take them. So they do need to be from the minimum to the maximum weight, somewhere in there. Cancer, if you've been treated for cancer in the last 5 years, you're uninsurable. If it's been 5 years and 1 day, you're insurable. Diabetes, I've already talked about that. I've kind of talked about this stuff too. If you have a pending surgery, they're not going to want to issue the policy. If they do issue the policy, they would put an exclusion on for that pending surgery. High blood pressure. The key is you're taking medications and it's under control. You can show a history of it.
Okay, so they could go ahead and get the policy and they would just have that exclusion, and then they would want to go ahead and get the policy, so they start that 12 months, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Talked about, I don't know that we did talk about pregnancy. If you're pregnant, they will not cover the person until after they've had the child and they've had their first well baby checkup.
Okay. Makes sense.
And then here it talks about that health advocate. You can use them to help negotiate your bills. Even though it's not going to provide coverage in the policy, you can still use that benefit. I already told you about cancer. If you've had internal cancer in the last 5 years, you're not eligible for coverage. But if it's been more than 5, you're okay. This is something the underwriters wanted me to put in there. We run a prescription check on every policy, so make sure that what you write down is going to match up with their prescription history. Make sure height and weight is correct. Pre-existing's 12 months. And then claims, we want to pay claims. You can do it the old-fashioned snail mail. You can fax it in. You can upload it to the Manhattan website, your claim. And then we also have at the Google Store and Apple Store, you can download the ManhattanLife app, register for the app to use it, and you can take a picture and send your claim in that way.
Okay. And this is something, of course, you, the agent, would be able to help your clients with.
Yes, thank you.
Another great service to offer. And Methani mentioned, I'm just going to throw this in here. She said it's a great product for college students too.
Oh, yeah. I need to add that to my notes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's not attained age premium. So your issue age premium. So when you buy in, that's your rate that you stay at. No deductible, unisex. Here are the states that we have it approved in. So we got a pretty good footprint there.
Yeah. I think that's everybody on this webinar.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm looking
Yeah,
at
that
all
is
of
it.
you. I'm looking at all of you on this webinar. It is available in your state. Anjum had a question, and I know we kind of talked about it, but I'm going to kind of ask it in a different way. So let's say, you know, someone doesn't have any pre-existing conditions. Let's say an agent gets off this webinar, they have someone they want to write today.
Yeah.
What does it look like for that client? Like, do they not get to use it for 30 days, or is it instant?
Good question. Let's say they bought the policy today, great health, no medications, no problems. Tomorrow they have a heart attack, that would be covered
Oh,
if they made the policy effective tomorrow.
and probably paid that first premium.
Yeah. They were going to collect it, but they will, you know, they're smart. They're going to go back and make sure that they didn't get hoodwinked. You know, they're going to make sure that there wasn't a history of heart problems. But as long as they were clean health, they didn't have a history of it, that would be covered day one.
Day one. And
Wonderful.
you can only have can you have an effective date any day of the month, or is it only first of the month?
The first to the 28th.
The first or the 28th?
Yeah, because of leap year.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave it open a little bit longer for questions. I know Zoom can have a delay on getting those through. So if you have any further questions about this, please put them in there so we can ask. As always, I have a ton of questions. Do you have any? I'll let you go first.
No, I really don't have any. I think the ones that I did have, the agents have already asked those and you've answered those, so that's wonderful. Also, I know that I talk to agents all day that say they get into your portal and bundle, whether it be like a college student that's doing this affordable choice, maybe with a DVH, so that they're able to go in your portal and do little bundle packages for their clients, which I suggest to make sure you're doing that.
With all of Manhattan's products.
Right.
Okay. Very cool.
Because you can apply for multiple products with one application. So, and that might be a future webinar or Zoom that we do. How do you navigate the Manhattan website, and how do you do the e-app?
Yeah. If y'all are interested in doing those webinars, let me know. We do these based on your suggestions. And then you were mentioning something else before we came in here. So Melanie got to spend time in person with Manhattan, and you had learned something from them about, what were you saying?
I think what I was talking about was the self-pay. Maybe was that?
Yeah.
And he touched on that, mentioning maybe that you're self-pay in order to kind of negotiate your bill. So, you know, I guess just making sure that your clients are educated on this when they get this policy, and I think probably setting up their app with them. I mean, mostly everybody has a Apple phone or some kind of smartphone today. So I would, if I'm writing this policy, I would want to get them set up on that app immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Monica, I see you raised your hand, but I don't see any comments from you. You'd have to find the Q&A box to comment anything. Brian had asked, can you tell us what the client receives after they are enrolled?
What the client receives after they get their policy, or yeah. Well, they'll get a copy of the policy. I showed you a little blurb of the surgery schedule. That'll be in there. It'll have the insured schedule. It'll have all the definitions, what's covered, you know, in there. It'll have exclusions. They'll have everything that they need, along with an ID card. They do get an ID card with it.
And that'll come in the mail for them?
That's a choice. Whenever you are filling out the application, it'll say, do you want it by mail or do you want it by email?
Oh, okay. Mathani asked, or maybe she was saying, I'm not sure, Mathani, you might have to help me out here. It says there is a waiting period on wellness.
Like wellness checks, or?
I don't, you know, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. I don't think there is. I mean, if you already had an appointment set up before you got the policy, of course, they're not going to cover that. But after the effective day of the policy, if you set up one of those tests, it would be covered.
Okay. And Anjum, I do see your question, which we kind of covered at the beginning. So we can send you the recording. That way you can rewatch the beginning. And then of course we can call you to talk more. Patricia asked about bundling, which that sounds like Melanie is going to be your girl for. And then Brian said, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. And thank you everyone for
Yes.
sticking in there. I know we went over a little bit, but I see you are all still live with us and just want to say thank you for being here. And I'm going to ask one final question because everyone knows I ask this at the end of every webinar. Do you have any marketing materials?
And it's free. You can order it from the Manhattan website. So you can go in there and you can order supplies, which could be brochures mainly, rate sheets, agent guides, you know, all that stuff. You can request those from the company free of charge.
Okay. So if I was an agent already contracted, I might log in, download a brochure. I think ideally, if you're going to be, you know, sending this to your existing book, maybe write a custom letter with your branding and say, hey, this is a new product that I now offer. Do you or you know anyone who would need this kind of coverage? And that's kind of where Eldercare can help too, if you need anything made for marketing materials.
Yeah, we have customer facing videos, like 30 seconds to 1 minute videos that are really good for what you just said. You can attach them to your social media, you can put it on your email, your website. But yeah, that's kind of where I was talking about. Let's take a look at the Manhattan website or agent portal, and I can show you all those tools that are available.
Okay, great. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. All right. Anjum said thank you. Everyone's saying thank you. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Kemp, for taking the time. And and we look forward to having you on again.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. And we'll be reaching out to you. And if you don't have this product, we're going to get you signed up today.
Excellent. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Thanks. You too.